Hello everybody, my name is Niall Sebastian Sieger. Welcome to this video from ciembassy.com. Today I want to speak a little bit about my lifetime experience because I do inform about universal communication, so communication with creatures which have lived as human beings before and which have lost their own human body. If I do inform about universal communication, it often looks to people that I So hello, welcome to this video from ciembassy.com. Actually, right now I'm in Bonn in the Rheinau and I'm wasting my time here. So, and what I mean with that, I did try to film universal communication before, as so often in my human life, and I wasted my time because So hi, this is Niall Sebastian Sieger. I'm the guy who's informing with the website ciembassy.com about universal communication, so communication with creatures which have lived as human beings before and which have lost their own human body. So I'm informing about ancestors communication, how some people would call that communication with ghosts, or how I call that communication with creatures which have lost their human body. And connected in a way that I can communicate with such creatures, so ghosts if you want to call it like that, since a few years in my life. So that was not always my living situation. If you watch the website ciembassy.com, you will find many videos where it was documented when ghosts or creatures which have lived as human beings before, which have lost their own human body, presented themselves and communicated with me and with the public which are watching the video. So with the people which are watching the video. I'm 100% sure if you watched a few of my videos where, for example, ghosts do influence the natural environment and do control the weather and the natural environment to communicate with me and communicate towards the public, you, the people which are later watching the video. I'm sure if you have watched a few of my videos, you might get the impression also that it is always easy to capture that on film if creatures which have lived as human beings before do present themselves or if they communicate. I'm doing this video because I want to inform about what it really means if you are so connected with so many creatures which have lived as human beings before, so connected in a way that you can see, that you have to feel, and that you can understand if they try to reach you and if they try to communicate with you or with others in your area. So I think a lot of people maybe watch the videos and have no idea not only how difficult but also how hardcore painful it can be in a living situation like I am in. So first of all, before I start to talk, I just want to inform you about the following. If creatures which have lived as human beings before, which have lost their human body, want to agree to stuff I speak out, they can trigger the wind level in the area where I am. So they can specifically use the area where I am to communicate also with you, the people which are watching the video. So if I speak out stuff, and if creatures are in the area which have lived as human beings before, and which have lost their own human body, they can, for example, canalize the wind to plants in the area, and because of that there's a wind tool hanging in the plant behind me. And the wind tool helps you a little bit to get impressions of the wind level in the area where I am. Okay? So if they do that, so if they want to agree when I speak something out, and if they're then gonna canalize the wind to this area and gonna use a higher wind level, then of course all the leaves in the plants will start to shake and the plants will maybe start to move. That's just that you know that in case that's gonna happen. So you can watch the area also and the wind tool in case that's gonna happen. So my past years, so the past years of my life, they have been quite shitty, how I would call it. Very brutal, very mean, and the reason is that I'm able to communicate with creatures which have lived as human beings before. The reason is that I'm connected with those, or with creatures which have lived as human beings before, which have lost their own human body. Connected in a way that they can connect in symbiosis to my biological human body, and then they can influence it. They can influence my thoughts, my feelings, my nerve system, the way how I feel things, how I see things, how I am able to use my own biological human body, for example, to speak out to you. So they can control a human body if they're connected in symbiosis to that, or they can influence it, and they can do that by doing different stuff and on different levels. So they can influence a biological human body just a little bit. That, for example, a human feels a little bit better or feels a little bit pain, or they can connect in symbiosis to biological human bodies and influence them on a very, very high level, which means then potentially that these humans will suffer a lot, that other creatures which have lived as human beings before, which have lost their own human body, could torture them, rape them, and so on if they're connected in symbiosis to that human body. So today I want to speak a little bit about the past years in my life. Right now you see me here, sitting here and talking to you. Producing this video, everything looks easy, everything looks comfortable. I even have a beer over here, right? So that must be a very relaxed and chilling day. But it's not. I'm thankful for the beer because it's gonna reduce the pain in my human body. Pain I'm feeling because other creatures did connect in symbiosis to my biological human body and did attack my nerve system, which means I have on a few, but not a very few, a lot actually, different points in my human body, different kind of pain, and the different kind of pain is produced from other creatures which are connected in symbiosis to my human body and which do act like that towards me, and which use different methods to create that pain. And at the moment, for example, I'm feeling a lot of pain in my back. So it's like back pain, how other people will call that. But I don't know the creature which is causing it. And the creature is able to communicate with me and do that, sometimes even before she's causing that pain. No. So it is possible to analyze it on a very good level. It is possible to communicate with the creatures which do create pain in my human body. And these creatures are connected, as I said before, in symbiosis to my biological human body, are individuals and have lived as human beings before. So I produce a lot of documentations where I present to people peaceful universal communication. which means that in the documentations, them I do communicate with one individual, one ghost, how you can call it, or one creature which have lived as a human being before, which came into a situation that he or she have lost her or his own human body. Often the documentations do not present you a good overview over everything what's going on, and especially not a good overview over other situations at the same moment in which are connected to the topic universal communication. So other situations which are created by other creatures, I am them not communicating with at that moment in time when I'm filming. For example, peaceful universal communication with another individual. So if you have seen a lot of my videos, please understand you can't see all the stress, all the pain, and all the embarrassment. And in the end, if you are connected in symbiosis with such creatures, you will get a lot of that, highlighted. My lifetime experience from the past years, where I'm connected in symbiosis with creatures which have lived as human beings before, which have lost their own human body, and which did them travel into my human body, did connect to my human body, did influence my human body, and did start to communicate with me. So my lifetime experience is totally bad, sad actually. What I had to witness the past years is just embarrassing, painful, and brutal, and the behavior of some of these individual creatures is totally fucked up. It's difficult for me to find other words, because that is what I really think. It's totally fucked up. Some of these creatures do behave just antisocial, but also combined with stupidity. So for me, in normal days, when I get up in the morning, the creatures do start to communicate with me. Creatures which have lived as human beings before, which have lost their own human body, and which are connected symbiosis to my human body. And they can communicate with me by, for example, causing impulses in my human body, or by causing pain, or by creating thoughts in my own human head. So if I speak about body sharing, and that is the topic of that video, be aware of that, because it can be dangerous for you if you get too much knowledge in the topic of body sharing. That's let me say that right here, and be aware of that. The following stuff I'm gonna speak out is only for people over 18 years, because I do not want to bring too young people into trouble, and older people are more likely able to decide in their own life what they want to know and what not, or what can be useful for them and what not, and what can cause pain later and what not. So if I talk about universal communication and documentations, you often cannot see my stress level. You often cannot see the level of pain I'm feeling during the videos. Right now I feel so much pain in my back that I can't even move very well without that I feel extra pain. Okay? These wounds, if you want to call it like that, they're specifically created, and they get specifically healed also. So in my daily life, for example, I get up in the morning and it's possible that a creature is contacting me by the different methods I just mentioned, and then starts to communicate towards me that the individual is going to start to create pain in my human body during the day, to force me into a situation, or to force me to do something, stuff like that. And then my embarrassing day gonna start. So I'm gonna get up with a lot of pain in my human body. And what kind of pain I then do feel is depending on the creature, and will where the creature wants to produce such pain. In general, I had nearly no days in the past years where I had not to feel a lot of physical pain. So be aware of that. If you inform yourself about the communication with ghosts or with creatures which have lived as human beings before, you can come into situations where you are unable to get rid of them. You can come into situations because you were interested in that topic that ghosts are going to start to call you or going to start to attack you. If I say ghosts, I don't mean only a spirit. I also mean always the creatures, the core. So I'm trying to be as specific as possible there. And if I look back at my life, it's not only that I had to suffer from pain every day and that I had to witness attacks nearly daily, and that I had to witness that creatures which have lived as human beings before, which have lost their own human body, are creating pain extra and sometimes for no reason in my human body, just to put pressure. So that will lead to a totally mean living situation. If I say I'm connected with creatures which have lived as human beings before, which have lost their own human body, a lot of people do not imagine what I mean with that. What I mean with that is that if I'm allowed to speak how I feel it, okay, and it's just a description, I'm just trying to describe something. If I get up in the morning, it is possible for me that I potentially can speak to hundreds of creatures within one day which have lived as human beings before, which have lost their own human body. I'm into a situation where it is high likely that many creatures during the day will try to reach me, will try to communicate with me, creatures which have lived as human beings before and which want to reach their living family members. So I'm in a situation where not one or two or three ghosts a day want to communicate with me, no, thousands actually. That is how I look at that. And that's correct, is the communication which is coming down into my direction from creatures which have lived as human beings before, and which have lost their own human body and which can do networking up there. So one ghost and another ghost, they can do networking, and they can travel very fast. They can transfer information by communication very fast, which not means that they always can come to their own conclusion very fast if they get information. Okay, it's the same with us humans or with you as a creature in your human body. So what definitely is not the same is the speed level. So they can travel very fast, huge distances. They can transfer information very, very fast, also over huge distances. And so it is high likely for me if I get up in the morning that I'm in a situation that maybe 20, 30 creatures during the day try to communicate with me because they want to produce documentations for their living family members, to reach out for them. So a lot of creatures which have lived as human beings before in the situation that they want to try to reach their living family members with data, with some proof of their existence, so that the family members then have the chance to ask the right questions. And these creatures, they also want to bring not only proof of their identity with such video documentations, they also often do invite their family members to do an identification check, because they do not have a human body anymore. For them it is very important that humans do understand that they want to bring proof of their individual identity. That's what you also always find in the video documentations, where I do communicate with ghosts or with creatures which have lived as human beings before, on ciembassy.com. So there you find a lot of these docus which have been produced from me with ghosts, where they did communicate to reach out for them. Okay, I'll go back to the general topic. So my daily life is totally stressful, and even in situations where it might not look like that. That's important for people which watch my videos to understand, because often you see me totally stressed in front of the camera, and if you do not get that right in your head, then you will judge me wrong. And also because I do practice body sharing, it can come to situations easily if I practice universal communication, and for example with one individual creature which do not have a human body, and which is for example using the natural environment to communicate in the documentation. It can also happen that something invisible to the people which watch the docu later is happening parallel. Other communication, or that I get attacked, or that I get stressed, stuff like that. So for me it is also a lot of stress in front of the camera to explain everything so fast, like I'm often doing it in the documentations. Because if I make universal communication transparent, I am in the situation that for you, the people which are watching the videos later, that I have to make transparent as much as possible which is going on. That's one part how I see my job there. But the other truth is, if I get attacked, if my human body is getting influenced negative, which I don't want, in a way that I feel tortured or raped, then I'm often in the situation that I have to delete, so that I have to destroy the data. So there's a lot of video material, or there was a lot of video material in the past which did not come to the internet, which have not made it to the internet because creators, for example, when I tried to produce a documentation with one ghost, one creature, because other creatures then did attack or did influence my human biological body so negative that I came into the situation that I did not want to see that negative. And people should understand that if I speak about body sharing, it is not that if I communicate with a creature which have lived as a human being before and which have lost his or her own human body, that if they're connected with symbiosis to my human body, that I'm able to kick them out if I do not want them anymore. That's not the case. So it can be very, very brutal for humans if they get attacked in a way that the attacker is such a creature with such possibilities and capabilities. The pain I'm going through in my life in the past years is so much, so often, that I would not say it's a good idea to connect with ghosts or with creatures, or so with creatures which have lived as human beings before, in a way that body sharing is necessary to communicate. So body sharing is a topic where I look at totally negative, just negative. I can communicate with my own mom, for example, and she can travel into my human body. So the creature which have lived in the human body of my mother, okay? Her human body died, she as a creature, she's existing, she's able to communicate, she can use also the natural environment to communicate, or she can connect in symbiosis to my biological human body, influence that, trigger thoughts, create thoughts, or leave signals in my human body for communication purpose. Okay, so she can use many different methods, also in the area of body sharing, to communicate with me by using my own biological human body. But if you have the lifetime experience, you quickly realize that that can be also proven. So even with my mom, where I have no problems with her, where I like to communicate with her, where she's using very gentle methods to try to reach me, to communicate with me, even there easy problems can come up because it is psychological, so harmful and so brutal if the own human body is getting influenced in symbiosis, in a way that another creature do connect in symbiosis to a human biological body, and for example gives the human brain the order. Because for myself, me, Niall, as the creature who was born in that human body and who always could give the order to the human body, everything is then always switched around. So the human body is like an instrument which is getting used by other creatures at that moment in time, instead of by myself. And that is totally painful for humans. It can be psychological, very harmful, and of course it can lead to a situation where a human have to feel totally abused and have to feel totally raped. Okay? So if I look back at the past years in my life, I made more negative experience than positive experiences. And so much more negative experience that I have to say that I have to communicate to the public, because I'm also informing about universal communication, that people should be aware of the risk these communication methods can bring. They should be aware of the risk if they want to try to communicate with ghosts or with their ancestors. Because I can help there, but I don't want to guide people into situations where they do not realize that there is a risk, and where they then get a problem later with other creatures which are ghosts and which maybe haunt them, or which maybe attack them, which maybe fight with them, and so on. So a huge problem in my life is that it is not possible to get rid of ghosts or creatures which have lived as human beings before, if they connect in symbiosis to my human body, if they attack me. You see, the wind level became triggered much more because the ghosts in that area, these creatures which are using this natural environment to communicate with you, they trigger very specific to agree to that. That's what they're doing right now also. Okay, that's why you see such a high wind level back there. So, by the way, if you see that in all the documentations that creatures react specific by using the natural environment, you have to realize often in the videos, as I said, is peaceful universal communication. But that is also a weapon shape. Because I know what these creatures can do potentially, ghosts in general. If they use their possibilities to attack humans, I always look at the natural environment also as a weapon chamber which can get used against me, for example, to attack me. I also documented that in the past, and so you will find that in the internet if you do a deep search. So my own biological human body, I go back to that topic. If I look at my own human body, it's totally different how I have to look at my own human body. It's totally painful because of the experience, because of memories, as far as I have them, because I easily lose memories, which means creatures which have lived as human beings before to connect in symbiosis to my human brain and to block my own lifetime experiences and memories. So that's also part of the mean living situation I'm in, because I'm practicing body sharing with ghosts or with creatures which have lived as human beings before, and because I get attacked also. So both is correct in my life. I'm a human who's willing to help other humans to try to reach their own ancestors. I'm helping ghosts to reach living humans if I think they're peaceful, to reach their living family members so that they get a live signal with video documentations and all that. But also true in my life is that I get often attacked, tortured, and I also got raped in the past. A lot of people cannot imagine what I mean with that because I'm a human man. But you can get raped with your own human body if creatures connect in symbiosis to your human body, create sexual thoughts you do not want to have, for example. You create pictures in your head you do not want to have. Do a stimulation process with the chemicals in your brain you do not want to have. But then you're sexually totally triggered, and they also can use the sexual organs of the biological human body. So they can influence the brain, a human dick for example, or a pussy and so on, and they can trigger the human. And with that they can create situations to rape humans, and that did happen to me a couple of times. As I said, what you have to understand, because you cannot see the pain level. Right now I'm feeling a lot of pain, and I'm sure if you watch the video you can't see it. If I wouldn't speak about it, you could not see that I'm feeling a lot of pain and that I nearly can't move very well because of pain. So be aware if you watch my videos. Often, if I look at my own video material, at the video material I do produce with such ghosts, I often see videos where I look totally happy or where I look relaxed, like right now. No, I have a lot of pain here, which leads to a situation. Every move I'm doing is producing pain over here. And there's a creature, even if it's getting better, I get the next attack and the pain level is getting higher again. So let me relax a little bit. I'm gonna try to work against the pain by smoking a J, by the way. So it is quite a nice day. If I talk about that, I mean the weather. Let's come back to my situation. So I'm living a painful and brutal life. I'm living a life where I often have to deal with individual creatures which are ghosts, which are not honest. So which are liars, traitors, brutal, which do attack humans, potentially kill humans, rape humans, make humans sick. And all that in a way that the living humans often cannot understand what's going on. I give you an example. So a creature which have, let's say a man, a creature which have lost his human body, can connect in symbiosis to a human man's body, trigger that human body to rape a woman, and then can rape a woman with the human body being connected in symbiosis to that human body, outreading it, so enjoying what the human body is doing to that woman. I give you another example. A creature which have lived as a human being before want to kill a living human. Then the living human is driving a car, the creature is connecting in symbiosis to a human body and is triggering the thoughts and the reflex of the human body, the muscle system, with the nerve system as well. What's happening now? Car accident, one human died. So a lot of the stuff I'm speaking about is happening on planet Earth, but the people can't see. I'll give you another example. For example, a lot of people in the internet, they speak about the fact that they have heard voices in their head. That they have voices in their head and that others are speaking to them. That shit can be totally real, because creatures which have lived as human beings before, if they connect in symbiosis to human bodies, they can do that and create such voices. Watch that, because the creature is going to agree to that. The creatures which are ghosts, by triggering and canalizing the wind a lot more, you can see how specific they do that. So if I look at reports from such people where they don't even often do not know if that was real, if it was not real, if these creatures were real or not, I just can tell these kind of peoples, and also the other people which are loving about them, so which are making jokes about these people, no, this can be totally real. It can be totally real that creatures connect in symbiosis to a human body, then create voices, in the human head, so that the human have to listen to them the whole time, and is just getting stress attacks with stress. Then they raise the stress level, and for example, they just can give the human the whole time an order to kill another human, and after a while the human will go mad crazy and will attack another human. So these things are real, these things are happening on planet Earth, and those people which do not have the lifetime experience and all that negative areas I'm speaking about, they can be very, very happy. That's the truth. If you do not have so much lifetime experience in such topics, like the wars, the invisible wars which do exist on planet Earth, so where creatures which have lived as human beings before, which have lost their own human body, do connect in symbiosis to biological living human bodies and do influence their human body, or do trigger them or create their thoughts to trigger wars, to be part of a war. So this stuff, these wars are going on, and I think a lot of humans have no clue what that means. No clue what that means. And the creatures which have lived as human beings before, which can use the natural environment, which can trigger and canalize the wind, they're going to agree to that, and they did that by triggering the wind. That's what you see now more specific for you, okay? That's why I'm pointing my hand there. So please watch also the plant always, and the wind tool and the natural environment a little bit, because that's how these goes. These creatures which have lived as human beings before can share their opinion towards you if I speak something else, okay? Here now these ducks, they walk by, right? You could see them in the video, they walk by there. For example, all the animals in this area can get used for war. So if the ghosts want to create a war situation against a human, these creatures, which are the ghosts, they can connect in symbiosis to the animal bodies and influence them. You see the reaction in the background if you watch the plant, because they do canalize the wind, okay? So they could, if they want to agree, they canalize the wind. They could connect in symbiosis to the ducks, trigger the ducks to attack me, or they could overtake the biological body of the duck and attack me with that. So they can use different levels of using or influencing that biological body of the duck, and with that they can use it as part of the weapon system. A biological body can be a weapon for them. So to the creators, can you agree one more time? Please trigger and canalize the wind a little bit more, and a little bit with the wind tool, that would be also great. Now you see the wind tool, you start to move more. That's for the people which are watching the video, and you can see the crown is now shaking a lot more for you, because the creators agree to that. So regarding me, you will find videos online where I got attacked, for example, with the storm, where I got attacked with biological bodies, so with insects. But my daily life, well, it's depending on the day, to be absolutely honest, because these methods can get also used by these creatures if they do not mean it totally bad. So if they do not mean it totally mean, they are also in the situation that they can do that just to stress it, just to cause a higher stress level. So I'm in a public park, so some people walking by, be aware of that. But I'm gonna keep filming. So the daily life, if you are connected in symbiosis with those or with creatures which have lived as human beings before, can be also very stressful, because they can use all those methods I just did speak about, also to put pressure on humans if they want to achieve a specific goal. For example, these creatures can connect in symbiosis to human bodies, and they can outreach human bodies. What I mean with that, if they're connected in symbiosis to your human body potentially, they can use your ears, your eyes, your senses, your taste, and you can see the creatures did trigger the wind again, specific to agree to that. So they're using the natural environment again to agree to that, and you can watch the visual and becoming more specific. Okay. So with that, you maybe have heard that ghosts or creatures which have lived as human beings before, that they're able to live in the memory of living humans. So there are a lot of sentences around on planet Earth where in Germany it's called Die Ahnen leben im Gedanken weiter, which means the ancestors live in your thoughts. So there are a lot of sayings around on planet Earth regarding that topic. And that is also because creatures which have lived as human beings before can create thoughts in biological human bodies. I came into the situation because so many creatures which have lived as human beings before do contact me daily and want to reach their living family members, that I'm having daily a sad life because of that. That's true, because I daily have to send creatures away. I daily have to explain creatures that I cannot find enough time to help them, even if I wanted to. Because I'm producing these videos alone, I do not have a team of other humans which are uploading the videos and which are doing the website. So I'm doing everything by myself, and that do cost a lot of time. So that is very sad. I had huge equipment problems in the past that became a little bit better now, not good enough, but a little bit better. I'm very happy for that. So there are many reasons why I just can produce 1 or 2 documentations a day on these days where I'm working a lot. And one of the reasons is all the stress and all the pain, because other creatures, so not me, Niall, other creatures who live in my human body do influence that on a daily basis and do create pain and problems and trouble in my life on a daily basis. For me as a living human, I was in a living situation and I'm walking through my life, through my memories a little bit, the few memories I have, because a lot of my memories are gone. But the past years were totally rubbish, totally bullshit. And the sad thing is, if I look back, it is just too stressful, too harmful, too painful to even call it a life. And you especially cannot call it a normal life, because these attacks I just spoke about, they're also happening in the area where I am. So it can be a totally peaceful day, or it can be a day where other humans are also getting attacked in the area where I am. And that is totally mean, that is also harmful, and that is very stressful, because then these living humans are totally stressed and they do not understand what did cause that. They do not understand that the stress level then was caused by creatures which are invisible for them. But of course, if these humans are so stressed, who they're gonna stress? The people in the area where they are, so me, potentially. So, important to understand is I'm living a life which is influenced, invisible for the other humans which are surrounding me, but a lot of the stuff which is going on I can see, and the other humans which cannot see the invisible part, they definitely feel and understand that something is going on, but they cannot connect it to the creatures which do it, because these creatures are in them. So for example, when a creature which do not have a human body anymore want to cause my stress level, the creature just can connect in symbiosis to another human body surrounding me, cause pain and more pain and more pain, which will cause stress also. The creature can trigger the stress level of that human. Then the creature can leave that human body again, and the human, which is in the area where I am, is then totally full of pain and totally stressed. And how will that human behave then in a totally stressed and painful situation towards other humans like me? Not so nice, potentially. So I had to witness that one day after the other in my life got fucked because I'm connected with creatures which have lived as human beings before. And what I mean with that is destroyed. My possibility to use my own days, in my own lifetime, how I want to use them, are not existing. They're nearly not existent because my human body is getting influence on such high levels. And the creatures which have lived as human beings before and which can canalize in the wind and use the wind in the area, they agree to that by triggering the wind. And you have to understand that the creatures, they can also outread my human body. They are connected in symbiosis to my human body, and they can check what I went through in the past because of all the informations they can grab from their network and from other creatures which have been in my human body the whole time, or at least in the area where I am. And the creatures agreeing to that by triggering the wind to a higher wind level, that is what you see here. Okay, that's what you got. So the weather today is a beautiful day, even if I feel a lot of pain. It's not that you get used to it. It's just, I'm a little bit hardcore, let me say it like that. I often have to suffer from pain, I often get attacked, and even these creatures which will attack me, which have lived as human beings before, which easily can kill humans or torture humans on very high levels. Even they communicate often to me that I'm a little bit hardcore regarding the question how much pain I can deal with. And that is what you could see so much wind for, and that is what they are agreeing now to more specific by pushing the plan to the direction, because I pointed with my finger into that direction. Okay, that's for you better understand. So you can see also how specific the communication can be. So regarding the problem with body sharing, you have to understand body sharing is easily for other living humans and for me a problem, even if we talk about peaceful universal communication, because it nearly always can be easily very harmful as soon as living humans do realize what's happening. And that's why so many ancestors of living humans, so ancestors from other families, potentially your ancestors, are in the situation that they really want to reach their living family members, but they don't want to use body sharing. So they don't want to connect in symbiosis to the human bodies of their own living family members, because they cannot decide it, they cannot see for it. And they don't want to use that method to communicate with them often, because they don't know how their own family members will see that later. If they will see that as a rape, if they will feel pain, or if they will get psychological problem from that. They don't know that before. So these creatures which have lived as human beings before, which have lost their own human body, they're often in a situation that they do not want to connect in symbiosis with their own living family members, and that's why they can't reach them, because they don't want to be in a situation that they later hear they have abused them or something from the perspective of these individuals. And you could see that the wind was triggered a lot because these creatures will agree to that. I did try my best to explain it. Hopefully you could get it. Because so much people do have no lifetime experience in that topic, body sharing, it's also for me always difficult to speak about it, because I don't know how I should explain it. If all the people do not have the lifetime experience, I always sound crazy or stupid because they cannot deal with the informations, and a lot of the people which are watching the video maybe cannot imagine. But I, as somebody who have the lifetime experience. I would not wish other humans such negative, painful and brutal experiences, and especially not so much. It's an absolutely painful life. If your own human body is in parts, and depending on the situation, is getting controlled by other creatures, you can do nothing against nothing. It's absolutely painful. It's always harmful and always stressful. So I did speak a lot. Let me drink my beer a little bit. I did speak a lot. Yeah. Okay. And I just gonna film. So I gonna drink a beer and I'm gonna stand up because of my back pain. I'm gonna walk a few meters and then gonna come back. It's just because of pain. Sorry for that. So that's for the specification. The creators which would trigger the wind have lived as human beings before is correct. If that's correct, then and do not get confused. There is a situation that some people are coming up. So I'll give them a second. I'm gonna sit back here, gonna watch into the camera. And I'm going to request a wind wave so that I trigger the wind now for you. And you can see that there's more movement in the crown. Can you shake the crown a little bit? Is what I'm requesting from these creatures now. And with the fact that they're going to start to shake the crown a little bit more, these creatures do agree. These creatures which have produced the wind in the video do agree to the fact that they have lived as living humans before, so they had a human body. So the creatures can start to do it now, and you can see that they do start to shake the crown more. We need it more clear for the camera, for sure. So we need it more clear. I'm gonna repeat that. The problem is here some people coming around the whole time, so these creatures sometimes get confused by that, but that can't be real because they're able to communicate much more clear, so I want to see that. If you want to communicate clear, or please leave it. That's what I'm telling these ghosts. Okay, that's also that you, the people which watch the video, that you do understand that. In the end, you're gonna watch the video. You have to understand what's going on in the video. And if these creatures do not communicate clear, then the videos do not make sense. You cannot learn anything from it. You just get confused. So I get very upset if creators do not communicate clear, always and quickly. And I like that regarding myself. Because otherwise I just produce one bad documentation after the other. So to the creators which have lived as human beings before, can you agree to the fact that you have lived as human beings before? Yes, please trigger the wind strong enough so that the people can see that. And the creatures now do trigger the wind much stronger, and that's why you can see that they push the plant back in the crown. Yeah, now they're shaking it more. So I did shake my hand, so you're gonna see that in the other camera views. Okay, that's for you better understand. So I'm gonna enjoy my beer. Sorry for that short moment where I had to optimize myself with them a little bit. So if I invite people, I want to come to that point because that's a very important point for myself always. In the video documentations I do produce, you often can see that I do invite living family members to contact me to try to communicate with their own family members. So the ghosts I did produce a documentation with before. Okay? So I produce documentations for living family members, and I do invite them that they can use the chance to meet up with me and to communicate with their ancestors directly. But also regarding all the documentations and regarding the fact that I do invite people to try that, I want to make clear, if you belong to one of the families which are invited, it is risky to practice universal communication. And what I think is also the ancestors, they cannot guarantee that if they communicate with a living human, that not a situation can come up where another creature them, for example, tries to attack also. It's so life is dangerous, but what is sure is that body sharing and all these aspects of universal communication are totally dangerous. Regarding the communication of creatures which have lived as human beings before, just use the natural environment to communicate with living humans. Just the natural environment, like the method of using it. That can be more easy for people, and what I mean with that, it's more easy psychologically to handle for people if they experience that the first time, if they collect their first lifetime experience with ancestors communication. Regarding body sharing is very difficult because a lot of creatures which have lived as human beings before, so ancestors of living humans, did communicate that living humans during their lifetime are not able to decide. Which means if they influence human bodies, if they create thoughts, if they trigger feelings, all that, the creature which was born as the human, during the lifetime as a human, the creature who is the human, will not have the perspective to judge really well what did happen with his or her human body at that moment in time. And that's why ancestors have so much problems if they do not want to harm their own family members, to use all methods they could use to communicate with their own family members, all methods which have to do with body sharing, which do not mean that that do not happen, but they don't know often how to deal with that from their own perspective. So if some people think ghosts, they always do know everything, or they must see everything, and they must have all knowledge, and they must be totally cool. That's totally wrong, because these creatures are individuals, and because of that, they, for example, will not know what you will decide later, how you will see things later as an individual. And that makes it hard for these creatures sometimes to communicate with living humans, especially to reach the living humans. If the living human is not able by him or herself to communicate directly with such creatures. So if the talent is not already there. I'm gonna end this video now. I just wanted to explain in that video, that was my main focus for this video. Please be aware of that. Do not get the wrong impression if you watch my documentations. Even if I look relaxed in the video documentations, the most days in my lifetime where I connected with creatures which have lived as human beings before, I do not have relaxed days. Just stressful days, painful days, and harmful days. The most of the days are like that. Over 90% in the past years. And the life I'm living is not a life I could enjoy, or I can enjoy. So you can be also aware of that. And I wanted to make clear that if you watch my videos and if you belong to those which see that I maybe have sometimes problems to speak English very well, stuff like that, all this stuff is connected to the fact that my human body is getting influenced from other creatures which have lived as human beings before, so from others. So please do not judge me for that, that I am a human, that I have a biological human body which can get influenced, triggered, and in parts also controlled from other creatures which have lived as human beings before, no matter if I want that or not. And the fact is that there are no humans on planet Earth which are strong enough to protect them in case other creatures which have lived as human beings before, which have lost their own human body, and which are able to connect in symbiosis to biological human bodies, want to do that with them. And you could see, if you watch the plant, you could see the reaction because the wind is getting triggered. And that's for all the guys which think they would be totally strong, so all the living men. No. If these creatures would attack you, you would have no chance. And no living human can do anything to protect him or herself. No yoga will help. No Krav Maga, no karate, no chemical weapons, no nuclear bomb. But what I'm talking here about should be interesting for humans, those humans which are very smart. As I said, human bodies can just get influenced, even overtaken. I just spoke about a nuke bomb. What about these people which do control nuclear bombs? What about their biological bodies? Because it could happen to them as well. So the knowledge is something where humans could learn from. The knowledge you get if you have the lifetime experience, as I have it. So the knowledge people could get from people like me, people which live in symbiosis connected with ancestors, with ghosts, or with creatures which have lived as human beings before, which have lost their own human body. Because people like me, and I speak there a little bit in general, people like me are able to receive information from them. We are able to communicate with them, even about complex stuff, and they are able to communicate with us. If I look back at the past years where I did inform about universal communication and ancestors communication, I look totally embarrassed at the fact that I think humans, the living humans, which do have no lifetime experience in that area, they do not see the potential, the chances which are also there. If humans would use the fact that it is possible to communicate with ghosts and with ancestors, with their own ancestors, to receive information. Because if I look on planet Earth, I look at a planet which became sick because we, the living humans, did produce too much chemicals, plastic, all that stuff. And I think a lot of ancestors, a lot of creatures which have lived as human beings before, which have lost their own human body, would help humans, the living humans, if there would be a system which would support that. So these ghosts would help living humans to receive information how the natural environment could get healed, and so on and so on, so on. What I'm saying, what I'm trying to say is we have a lot of problems on planet Earth. And it's sad that I could not see that living humans try to really build up a team between ghosts and living humans to work on their problems, to solve the open questions, to them solve problems. And you can see that the creators which have lived as human beings before to trigger the wind stronger to agree to that. Okay. So as I said, I'm not going to produce a too long video here. I say thank you very much for watching. Your Niall, Sebastian Power-Sieger, and some creatures which have lived as human beings before, which have lost their own human body, which did canalize and trigger the wind to the plants behind me, but also to the wind tool to communicate with you, the people which are watching the video. And by the way, the wind tool was hanging a little bit in the tree, so do not get too upset with that. Thank you for watching, your Niall. And if you want to see more videos where ghosts do present themselves, do communicate, if you want to inform yourself more about the different topics which have to do with ancestors communication, you can visit www.ciembassy.com. And you can also visit ciembassy.com to check our video database, because there's a huge video database with a lot of videos where ghosts have presented themselves, have communicated with living humans to reach out for their living family members. Thank you very much for watching. You're Niall. Enjoy the summer and peace.